Hello, everybody. What's going down with y'all? Thank you for catching this recording after the fact. As I wait for a few people to ride on in for this live broadcast, I want to say hello. And I pray that you had an awesome weekend. My name is Sonjamarie. For those that don't know who I am, I'm an astrologer, an artist, a mama, an author, a Renaissance lady of sorts. And I find it really not challenging, but I'm a little trepidatious about calling myself a healer because I don't believe we as human beings do the healing. However, I allow information to come through to me and prayerfully each and every time I do a reading with someone, or each and every time I step in the room for that matter, there is some type of healing abilities or something transpiring. So I'm that too. The conduit to the conduit can to the can do it because we can. 7-7. I love that. I looked up and there's 7 people with 7 thumbs up as the folks roll on in. Again, if you don't know me, my name is Sonjamarie, but these people know who I am, those that are rolling in live, and I thank you for it. What's up, sweet tea? Happy to see you. Oh, that's a new name. Hello, Halima. I got it, I think. Halima Fatin. What's going on with you, love? Medea is here. That's sweet, Virgo. I love getting your messages, by the way. Thank you, honey pie. And I'm really proud of you. Giselle is here and Lydia is here. What's going on, Chanel Flowers and True Empress Rice? Greetings to you, sweet lady of the night. Boy, that came out all wrong, especially on the note front, but absolutely on the words. I didn't mean to make you a lady of the night. That's just how it came out. In any case, just being a little goofy as the folks ride on in and they get their notifications. I'm just happy that you're here. And I really pray that you had a great weekend. Y'all can talk among yourselves and let each other know. On Mondays, we do a weekly rundown in which we'll get right nice and deep into what's happening astrologically speaking this particular week. And then on Friday, we have a freestyle Friday kind of thing. So if you're new to my channel, please come back on Friday as well as today. Today is a little bit more structured. Friday, we just go, balls to the wind, so to speak. Go rogue and do what Spirit says to do. But today we're going to talk about the week. We're also going to introduce in the most proper way. I try to remember this for every sign, but we are going to introduce Gemini season as the sun rolled into Gemini yesterday. And then maybe have 1 or 2 readings, specific readings with your sun, your moon, and your rise. And then we'll leave on out again with a card just to kind of solidify the week and as it is going to transpire. There's a lot of downloads coming in for me today and within the past weekend. And oftentimes I try to I wouldn't say I try not to listen to them, but sometimes I don't want to be inundated. And it feels like there's a little inundation that's happened. Is that a word, y'all? Inundation? To create inundation from inundate? If it's not, you know what I mean, right? Do y'all feel the same way, or is it just me? The intuitive people, those that absolutely see. Sometimes you want to see, and then sometimes you're like putting a blanket over your head. That was kind of how I was this weekend, but it's fierce and there's a lot coming through. So prayerfully, I can remain open in this moment to assist us all, to be quite honest with you, because things are changing. Things are changing and things are moving, I think, at a pace in which we're not necessarily familiar with, and it's throwing a lot of us off in some way. And I heard in the shower today, and I don't know how it's going to parlay in this reading, but are you frustrated? This is a real question. Are you frustrated because there's a part of you that feels invisible? I know that's a weird question, huh? I don't even know where that came from, to be quite honest with you. But as I was washing and getting ready for y'all, Spirit said, just ask them, are they all right with being invisible? And I feel that if that's not for a bunch of y'all here, that's for one person. There's no more time to hide out, y'all. And I mean, maybe that was for me. Because I feel like sometimes I do that. And like I just said, trying to hide out from the downloads that are coming in. But do you do that? Are you feeling that generally? Meaning that there's a lot of things to do, whether it's practical things to do and you just don't want to do it, so you hide out, or whether there's some spiritual or emotional work or attention that needs to be done within, that needs to be handled within your life, around your family, around your work, that you feel like, I don't want to do it. And you create this invisibility within you. Does that make sense? Yes, yes, y'all. A couple of, okay. Oh, I'm so glad, Moni. Maybe that was for you, baby. Maybe that was for you. I'm so glad it hits a few of you, because I was here to talk about it, like for sure, about what that invisible feels like and what we should do in order to push through it. And I keep hearing on the real is that it's not worth being invisible any longer, because there are way too many people that are talking nonsense, in which we need to speak up and talk the sense in which people can grow from. And not a lot of us believe that we are educated or certified, or even have the gumption or the courage or the proper words or the full experience, or you're not in the right place geographically, or you don't have enough money, or you have too much money, or there's some type of qualification. And it's all bullshit. It's some type of qualification that says to you, I can't make myself visible because of X, Y, and Z, because of my job, because I'm a mother. Again, with the laundry list of reasons and justifications and excuses that I just presented to you. Spirit said it's all bullshit. We don't have time to be invisible any longer, because everybody has a story. Everybody has reasons for being here. Everybody is pushing against a wave that, again, as y'all already know, wants to hold the society, wants to hold our humanity, wants to hold even our personal life like captive, and freeze frame it in a space in which we feel comfortable, right? That comfort zone or whatever. We can't do that any longer. We have to be willing to be seen and to push against it in a sense. Right now, when I speak of pushing against, like when I speak of pushing against it, what I just heard, it's almost like pushing against the need to keep things regulated. There's no more regulation. However, the flow is something that, in the watery flow, the thing in which we need to experience, we can't push against, right? It's two different distinctions. And I know that seems really confusing in this moment to one or two of you. The flow is more universal. What we can push against in this moment in time is the thing that wants to push us back and keep us sedentary, the thing that wants to keep us normal, the thing that wants to keep us comfortable. That's what we push against. And you know exactly what that is. I'm putting you on Front Street, even though I can't see you and I'm not doing it individually. As I look into your eyeballs in this moment in time, hopefully you catch one or two of mine, right? That you understand that. Hold on, something got caught. There's no reason to keep your individuality. There's no reason to keep your voice. And I don't know why. I don't know why I hear certain things, but even how you smell, how you move. I know that sounds so weird, y'all, but please, 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 please don't shut me off right now, because there's new information about, like, even our body structure, even how we smell, how we move through the world, how we're seen, how our I know this sounds so general, but it's really, really not. Let me try to get my words together as I hear them. Just imagine the senses. And this is all Taurus's fault in a really good way. Imagine the senses. Taurus deals with senses, right? The sight, the hearing, the taste, the touch. What's the fifth sense? Sight, hearing, smell. Sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch. Here we go. Taurus deals with senses. And oftentimes, as we are changing, so are our senses. So is how we smell or how we smell a thing. So is how we see or how we see a thing. So is how we touch and how we touch a thing. Yeah, we can put it on perspective. We can also put it on the fact that things are changing and they don't feel and sound and look the same any longer. And if we are making things visible, we are making things viable, you can see the change. Otherwise, if it's invisible, it leaves our mind up to thinking that it looks the same way it did in 82. Are y'all rocking with me right now? Yes, yes, y'all. How we sense the world, Moni Love, is a whole lot different. So we have to make ourselves visible in order for even how we are being put across, how people are perceiving us, they can sense us as being different, thus respond to us different, thus come at us, in a different kind of way, prepare themselves to speak with some sense or some understanding or, some compassion, so on and so forth. Am I making myself clear in this moment in time? If I'm not, please make it known. Tell me to be a little bit more clearer. Listen, we in Gemini season and we're about to talk about it in a minute. And Gemini has a way, that energy, that ability has a way to compartmentalize and allow you to see things in your brain quite differently and sometimes incredibly truthfully, a lot more truthfully in our brain we see the things than what it is we're looking at. Does that make sense? Gemini is genius for that. I'm not going to segue into that just yet, but I want y'all to stay with that fact of making yourself visible so the senses can record you differently. So your senses can record you differently and other people's senses around you can record you differently. Now, why am I talking about that Taurus energy that I mentioned on the top of this download in regards, as opposed to Gemini energy? I'll get to Gemini energy. The sun is in Gemini, but you do know we still have Mercury and Taurus in the sky. We still have Jupiter in Taurus in the sky. So the bottom line is that there's still some energy that's hovering over us that's saying, yo, show up different. Be sensible in a different way. Be seen in a different way. Plant those seeds in a different way. It's still happening. Uranus is in Taurus as well. I was trying to think of the other planet that's in Taurus too. And that's the difference. The rebelliousness of Uranus in Taurus to see things different. Don't ask me why they asked me to say this, but it's going to hit for somebody. And that's all I'm responsible for. As long as one person gets what it is that needs to be said. It's time to show up differently, y'all. It's time to be visible in a whole nother way. That's all I'm going to say. Gemini season is good for administering these differences. Again, because it is so well versed in how the brain works. Imagine Gemini energy. Again, I always like to say this as the producer. Happy birthday and happy solar return to all those Geminis out there. For real, for real. I respect you. I respect you. I respect you. I respect you. And by the way, before I go into the real download of this, let me start from here, in which I do my best to try to teach the village hut in this way. And looking at the order of the constellations, I alluded to it on Instagram, and you might have caught that. But I'm gonna go on my bag with it. Here's the deal: the constellations are formulated in a way in which one thing precedes the next brilliantly. It actually adds to the next situation. Aries' physicality adds to Taurus's need to bury the shit and make it grow, which adds to Gemini's need to take what's growing and assimilate the information, which goes into Cancer's need to take that information and put it into the heart and emote it and make people feel it. Did y'all follow that? From Aries to Taurus to Gemini to Cancer. I need y'all to talk to me. Yes, yes, y'all. Because I'm feeling the teacher / download / I don't know what the hell we doing right now kind of feel coming over me. So I need to let y'all know that I'm being taken over. And I need to see if y'all there. But y'all get that though, right? Because y'all smart like that. You was kind. You was smart. You was important. And you're beautiful too. Okay. So that Gemini energy is up next. It says, yo, don't call me crazy. Don't call me out the box. Call me a genius, in which I am in its own right. Why? Because Gemini energy has the ability to take again what Taurus has already solidified, what Taurus has put in the ground as the earth sign that it is, has methodically rearranged situations in order for the growth to happen. And as the growth is happening, Gemini goes, oh shit. Stay with the analogy. Look at them leaves. Look at them beautiful petals. The shit that's growing, the things in your life that's growing, right? Oh my God, look how it's facing the sun. Look how it's doing this. That's all information, cousins. That's all information. Gemini has to do that. That energy has to do that, whether they come in the people as a sun sign, as a Mercury, as a moon. Gemini energy comes to the people and assimilates all of that information that came down or that's growing up or growing out and says, ooh, we in this mutable, kind of pliable, not attached to any kind of thing, kind of feel, kind of thought, kind of motion. I'm going to take all of this information and parlay it in a way in which it can be assimilated, brought together like a puzzle, and make sense and communicated with such grace. Gemini energy is a master communicator after it has assembled all of that information, and it communicates masterfully because it doesn't necessarily want to come for your heart. It's not coming for that yet. That's Cancer. It's not coming for your heart. It's giving you information like a montage in a movie. You get what I'm saying? This is what happened. This is what happened. This is how it's going to happen. This is the information, blah, 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 and then it's red. And you're like, whoa, how did we get to red? Let me show you again. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. Blah, blah, blah. That's Gemini energy. That's fucking brilliant, y'all. And to be able to stay detached from the emotion while doing so. It must not be a lot of Geminis up here because y'all not like going crazy in the sense that this is on, or not unless y'all don't believe me or not. But usually there's like a couple of Geminis like, that's right. Just realizing I was being observant. In any case, that's brilliant to me. Oh, they take that information and then they communicate it with grace. Then they come from a space where it doesn't touch their heart, but they're like, well, maybe, possibly, let me give you the benefit of the doubt. This is how I take this information, and this is how I'm going to sell you ice in fucking Canada. This is how I'm this is how I'm gonna manipulate and negotiate the situation so you can understand the words and the information that can assist you or me, if I'm a selfish type, assist somebody. It can form words and sentences in ways in which, again, it will convince you that this is the truth. And oftentimes when it comes from the right heart, it's necessary. Or I should say from the right space, from the right spirit, it's necessary to manipulate and negotiate and to speak in a way in which most people understand it. That's Gemini's prowess, man. That's Gemini's prowess. So I say, like I said on Instagram, sorry, Mr. Bug, but you in the way. Like I said on Instagram, please stop calling them crazy. Stop. I mean, they're dualistic in their own way, but they have to be. Can you imagine being a Gemini and being able to record all things coming at them in their mental at one time and still concentrate on doing what it is that they're doing in that moment? They're like master recorders in that way. And producers, being able to assimilate all of these things and assisting people along the way. It can drive a person mad. I just want to say that. It can drive a person mad. So I need you to big up the Geminis because they do their best to try to stay in that sweet lane, that sweet twin, until the world gives them something else. And of course, they're going to switch. They're dual like that. They're meant to be like that because they have to see all sides. They have to see all compartments. You get that? So when they switch, that's only them switching to be handled, to handle the amount that's coming at them, to handle what's coming at them, the emotion, the shit talk, the wrong information, the manipulation. They switch to that other twin to be like, yo, don't get me wrong. Y'all can't dump all of this shit in my brain like this, like this. This is not fair. So I'm gonna cut you. And I'm gonna cut you deep because I don't even care. In a sense. Like I'm not Cancer yet. I don't care how it feels. I'm just coming at you and slicing you because you disrespected my words and my thought process, is what Gemini says. Do y'all get that? Come on now. I need for y'all to really understand the depths of that Gemini energy. Honestly, Every sign has their weaknesses and every sign has their strengths, but every sign is magic, absolutely magical. And the way that they were assimilated in the sky to assist their energies onto our planet, into our solar system, so we can do what? Continue to evolve and go up that spiral of evolution. I think I'm talking too much. Am I in my Gemini bag today? What's going on? Are y'all hearing me? Today is a beautiful day in the neighborhood, as Mr. Rogers would say. Today is a really beautiful day. May 22nd, the moon is in Cancer. Yep, like I put, it's an awe-inspiring day, especially to execute some type of truth or some type of joy. That's why I'm talking all this thing. And thank you, Moni Love. I appreciate you saying that. So it's a switch, not a two-face, huh? Ha! I love you for that, true Empress, right? It is a switch. And the two-face only appears, again, from a defensive perspective, but also from a perspective in which they have to kind of, not have to, let me say that again, in which it is their mode of operandi. It's their mode of this, their MO, to be able to see things in 2 and 3 different perspectives. Why? Because everybody else in the sky, every other sign, wants to see things the way they see it. So there needs to be a fucking crossing guard. There needs to be somebody in the middle of it saying, hold on. Everybody gets a chance to speak. And that's Gemini. They may not agree with everything, but they do agree with the fact that everybody has a voice. So they switch to accommodate their own voice oftentimes. You understand what I mean? It's not to say that they don't believe you, but sometimes they have to protect their own perspective. Does that make sense? Come on now, because they're human. Right? Come on. So it looks like two-faced, but it's not. Wonderful. I will take them over any zodiac sign or person. And both my children are Capricorn. I'm just saying. That's what Sweet Tea just said. Very similar to Libras. It can be, but Libras have a different kind of spin on their thing. Libra energy, true Empress, right, is more of a leader with it, where Gemini energy is more pliable and more mutable with it and sits back and collects the information. Libras don't have time to collect. They see what they see, and then sometimes they're indecisive with it, but they move. Or they dictate other people to move because they're the leader. They're the cardinal sign of the information. All right, that's enough. Y'all need to join the motherfucking hut, is what I'm going to say, to give myself a little pub and promotion. The next time I will have the Village Hut, which is an 8 weeks course of teaching astrology in the way that I see it. It's probably going to be around September, since we'll come back from the retreat, the end of July. Probably around September. So anyway, be on the lookout for that. Let's get into today, though. Today, the moon is in Cancer. So y'all feeling a little emotional? Anybody feeling emotional? Anybody feeling like, they need some nurturing, they need some nourishing, or they need to eat? I'm all of the above out this motherfucker. I felt my hips spreading a little bit last night. I was like, oh, Sonja, you've been eating. Yep. By the way, before I get into this thing, if this resonates with you, please share with your friends, with your peoples, whoever you need to share with that can understand this information to the heart. Also, if you'd like to donate monetarily, the Venmo, the Cash App, and the PayPal is in the description box below. I'd really, really appreciate that. It helps to keep this channel going. It helps to keep me alive, and just adds energy to what it is that we're doing here. All right. So that moon in Cancer is helping us to eat. It's helping us to connect with our moms, or seeing the lack of connection for sure, and thus help us connect with or lack the connection with other women. Because remember, again, I'll teach this as well, that our first relationship is with our mothers, right? That moon sign, that intuitive connection, right? And how we intuitively connect with our mothers also rolls out how we connect with other women. Understand that. Also, your Venus sign has a lot to do with that too, your relationships with women in your life. But Is that on your mind and your heart today is my real question, as this moon in Cancer is rolling in and as it's connected to a lot of the energy that's in the sky. It's promoting this Cancer feeling from coming on through. Whenever there is a connection, meaning a sextile or a trine, right? There's promotion of energy that's rolling. There's the push in a very harmonious way of how the energy is rolling. When it's a square or an opposition or a quincunx, there's a little bit of so negative. The negative energy around that particular sign or planet comes out and tends to have to be worked over and worked through in order for the positive to push through. So today, there's no negative aspect, is my point. So that moon in Cancer is being promoted. All the things that I just spoke about, the nourishing, the mother energy, the feminine energy, the passive energy. And by the way, passive energy is a beautiful thing oftentimes. It really gets down to the fact that you're being vulnerable. When you're being passive, you're being open, you're being vulnerable. Again, to allow things to enter into you and to be to set into you and reworked and then being put out in a whole nother way. Passivity, that's not the right way of saying it, but y'all get what I'm saying. Being passive is being vulnerable and open. The moon in Cancer is promoting that. Had a very vulnerable conversation today with a male in my life who I'm so grateful. He opened up his heart and said what he said today. And if you are on here and you know who I am, I love you. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that. But it's nothing like seeing a man be vulnerable and open and expressing their love in the way in which they do. Why? Because they're masculine by nature oftentimes, right? And that vulnerability gets in them and creates this equilibrium. And it's the master energy, or I should say, it's the magical energy of that equilibrium that makes us all feel whole and protected and sacred and safe. Chomp on that for about 5 minutes. Today, the moon in Cancer is sextile and is harmonious to Jupiter. So it's like Big Mama and the exuberant auntie is what I put down here, giving all they got, like the dynamic duo. Why? Because that moon in Cancer says, let's love like a Cancer. Let's love big like. Let's love with that mother energy. Let's love by caring. Let's love by emoting. Let's love by holding sacred spaces and holding sacred secrets for people. But Jupiter says, I'm coming in like a Taurus would, Big Mama style. So if the moon in switch that. If the moon is in Cancer, that's what I call Big Mama style. And Jupiter is in Taurus, that's the auntie. Them coming together, talking shit, eating a lot. That's for sure. Ooh, that's why the belly is swollen, because Taurus and Cancer are both the foodies of the zodiac. And we got Taurus energy and big Jupiter. That means everybody needs to curb their appetite a little bit, not just because the moon is in Cancer. As Jupiter is in Taurus, we're going to probably have an appetite until Jupiter pops out of Taurus, to be quite honest with you. So hold off of that, because Jupiter brings gluttony. I want you to know that Jupiter brings gluttony, overwhelming sensations of things, overdoing the shit, and Taurus energy of food. I just want to say that as a side note, almost squirrel. Okay. So Jupiter in Taurus is hooked up with this Cancer moon going, yes, auntie and mama coming together to feed us the emotional security bit by bit that we need. I say this softly, quietly, and purposely, because oftentimes a lot of us run, especially those air signs and those fire signs that are not necessarily in tune with their emotions or don't want to sit with their emotional body. The moon in Cancer and Jupiter in Taurus is celebrating not only the emotions, but the gems in which you find in the heart. Not only the gems, but celebrating the fact that take this analogy, everybody is in the house and everybody is crying and eating and laughing and celebrating and angry in the corner. There's a huge family reunion that's happening when Jupiter and the moon get together. It's giving it permission, giving it the emotions permission to spill out and to be sacred in it, to be safe in it, to be vulnerable and allow it to grow. Jupiter in Taurus says, I'm going to put something on it to make it grow because it's earth. You understand what I'm saying? Are y'all with me today? Okay. I'm going to ask you a few more times. I know it's in the middle of the day and people are working. But I want to make sure, because for some reason this info is coming through clear today and very purposeful. Every day is different. Every week is different. But rock with me. Also today, the sun is in Gemini. We know that. Talked about that for a quick second. It sextiles Mars in Leo. How is that for another mashup? Because we got the water in the moon in harmony with Jupiter in the earth. Just explain that in my poetic way. But then on the other side of that, we got some fire and some air happening on the action side. Oh, shit. You kind of have to like it. Y'all know where I'm about to go? Come on, El Bell, talk to me. You kind of have to like the fact that the moon is feelings and Jupiter exuberation, rewards, skittles are coming together and on one side of the street, and the sun, ego, vulnerability, openness, core feels are happening. And recognize I said core feels, core intuition, right? Solar plexus kind of feel, right? The real brain in the solar plexus. That core feel, right, is riding nice with Mars in Leo. Action on the other side of the street. That's a nice little balancing act, if I may say so myself, with the universe is doing for us right now. Why? Because that core feel, that sun is saying, yo, Gemini is saying, yo, I got the information today. I got the information. I'm on scout. I'm location scouting. I'm asking the questions. I'm calling on my resources. I'm researching. I'm being cute and flirty with how I communicate so I can get what I need. Manipulation, but in a good way. You dig? That's all Gemini energy. It's sitting right and nice with Mars, how we execute this thing in Leo. And you know Mars and Leo ain't nothing to play with, is the point. It's courageous, it's willful, it's self-centered, it does what it wants to do because it's Leo teen like that. It's a lion. You understand? So how we're moving is with that conviction, with the sun open up for all kind of information. Plainly put, whatever information you get and you believe in today, especially with Jupiter and the moon coming together saying, yeah, I feel that. Whatever information you get and you also feel, move on it. There is no excuses today. Bottom line, point blank, spirit is dope. I just heard. That's why I told you to talk about being invisible. That's why I told you to talk about being invisible, because there's no real reason to be invisible today if you got the sun shining on Mars. If the sun is saying you got to go get this thing, and Mars is like, all right, I'm gone. With all the love, generosity, Mars and Leo, all the love, the generosity, the heartfelt, the courage, you understand what I'm saying, that Mars can muster up, and the fight, because Leo energy ain't a pump. You understand that? Come on now. I know y'all get this. Come on. At the same time today, and I'm only on Monday, God damn it, 32 minutes. At the same time today, the moon in Cancer trines Pisces. Now, this is really interesting, because I got this hit as I was messing on the computer. What's going on with that Saturn spirit? Like literally my conversation with God and everybody else. What's going on with that Saturn thing? Why can't we work? If we're feeling invisible, why is it very hard, or I should say tricky on some level, to execute some things? Even though Mars is the executioner, right? Mars is the action, right? Mars is what we confront people with, right? It's that fighting energy, though. Saturn is the work that we do to sustain. Saturn is the practical work, the discipline, the daily need to chip away and get shit going. Whereas Mars just blares through that thing and can initiate some shit. It doesn't mean it's going to follow through like Saturn does. So I was questioning, like, where's the follow through? Well, they said, well, remember, Saturn is in Pisces, and not too many people are going to respect Saturn in Pisces' follow through. Yes, y'all. Y'all get that? Saturn in Pisces is follow through, which is actually in alignment with the moon. It's saying whatever you feel, respect the fact that you are taking steps that don't necessarily look lateral, that don't necessarily look like it's in order, that doesn't necessarily look like you can even recognize it sometimes, because Pisces is shape shifting. Pisces is invisible oftentimes and can basically, like, Pisces energy, y'all know about this? Pisces energy can disappear in a crowded room and you'd never know that motherfucker was in there. For sure, for sure. So Pisces Saturn, the way it wants us to execute this work and to become known, is to get in touch with our feelings today. Is to know that we are taken care of and we are emotionally safe. Then we establish the steps in which we need to establish. But the trick is this: respect your own steps, because your steps ain't gonna look like my steps. Your steps ain't gonna look like your sister's steps. Your sister's step ain't gonna look like her co-worker's steps. You get what I'm saying? That's Saturn and Pisces is doing. Are y'all following me? I'm going in today. Saturn and Pisces is doing is like, yo, as long as you are taking the information, taking the good feels, taking what's around you and parlaying it into what it is you need to parlay it in, especially as your senses are changing and making you more visible, then do it in a way which sits for you, which your intuition is telling you how to do it. It's not up for debate for anybody that's around you. It's just not. This is how I need to work this thing. El Bell said, wouldn't Saturn and Pisces be supported by being in the know that our work and discipline will produce the desired results? Yes, and very yes. Saturn and Pisces does know that your work will produce, very good question, that your work will produce the desired results. But how many people pay attention to Pisces energy? El Bell, that's a real motherfucking question. Don't have me on here for 3 hours. That's a real question. How many people are going to listen to Pisces elusiveness? That Pisces energy is not respected all the time. Don't get it twisted, y'all. Come on now. Y'all know. Why? Because it looks naive, because it looks like the flower child, because it doesn't look definite, because it doesn't have a list, because it's not bold, and it's not like fire, and it's not convincing you that it knows what it's talking about. You understand what I'm saying? It's not overly arrogant in some kind of way or too physical. Pisces energy don't walk like that. It don't walk like that. So it's the people, us human beings, that have to be more faithful, that have to be more available to the unseen and know that the unseen has always gotten us. El Bell, how many times did I say this on this goddamn YouTube? Pisces have been saving our lives. Neptune and Pisces has been saving our lives the last couple of years because it's been shape-shifting us. Saturn just went into Pisces, is actually helping to save our lives. Today, especially, trying to stay on track, y'all, because I ain't off on Monday yet. The moon trining Saturn, our emotional body, our need to feel safe today in order for us to make the steps. Because we got to feel safe in order to move into the unknown, or else we're stuck in the middle of the fucking crossroads. Does that make sense? Sometimes you got to convince yourself of that. Sometimes you just have to trust it. Sometimes you have to make yourself visible to know where to go. So somebody can go, oh, I see you. Go that way. And you're like, thanks. Safety first, El Bell. Come on now. Are y'all hearing me? Also today, if that ain't enough, that moon in Cancer is doing her job. It's trining Mercury in Taurus. Come on now. And I put here, let's talk about it, build and plan on it, and express it with harmony. Mercury was like, give me the information. We in Gemini season. I'm Gemini's planet. I can handle it and make that coincide with how you feel. The moon trining Mercury today. Come on now, don't play with me. It's about time. Bottom line, y'all need it to sound like elementary school. Do what you say you're going to do. Do what you say you're going to do today and make sure it feels right. And if it doesn't feel right, don't do it. And honestly, get it off your list. That's the real. And I'm telling you like that, and definitely like that, because we don't have no more time to waste. What I heard today was like, be visible, because you got to be able to put your stake in the ground where you want to walk. We don't have time to sit here and contemplate. I don't know what side I'm on. I don't know how to use my gifts. I don't know. Try something, anything. Get out there. Utilize the information that's around you. Come on, y'all. Tomorrow, I love it. I love it. Tomorrow, the moon stays in Cancer, right? The moon will quincux Venus. There's only two aspects to Venus this week. But I heard Spirit say at the last part, as I was writing these notes, at the last aspect, check out what Venus is doing this week. And I said, oh, okay. But there's only two aspects. Tomorrow, the moon conjuncting Venus. And on what's the other one? On Sunday with the moon sextile in Venus, right? That's a big freaking deal when Venus is touching the moon, because it's about expression, right? Venus is about the love and the value of it all. This is for tomorrow, Tuesday. Venus is about the love and value of it all in Taurus. No, in Cancer, right? But the moon is how you express that thing. So I heard Spirit say, talk about Venus. You know why? Because Venus is about the desire, the passion, the validity, the worth. Something has to convince us to be visible, to feel worthy. And that's Venus. And when Venus feels that, with the moon hitting it in two favorable spots this week, it's about expressing it. The moon says, express yourself, salt and pepper. Express yourself. Get that shit off of you. Let people know where you stand. Become visible. Oh my God, I'm about to cry right now. Not because it feels heavy. It's because I love when Spirit speaks through me, and all of a sudden, all of these things start to click. It's about being visible. With the moon hitting Venus in that way, the more you express it. And when the moon is in Cancer, it will express in a way in which some people may or may not understand, especially Aries and Libra, because it's square to that way of expression when the moon is in Cancer. When the moon is in Cancer, it expressed like, mommy, I need you. It expressed like, I need my kids to be home. It expressed like, let me cook for you. It expressed like, sit in the bed with me tonight and let's have this pillow talk. It expressed in a way that it doesn't necessarily put in words, I love you, I need you, I miss you. But the actions and the expressions will come out in a way that's so soft and vulnerable and open-ended that some people scratch their head and say, well, you didn't tell me to come home at 10 o'clock, that you needed to lay in the bed with me and rub my feet. Sometimes you don't have to. Understand this. Sometimes we have to learn how to listen to different people, thus different energies, expression, so we can move forward. And in this case, so we can feel validated and purposeful, because Venus is in the mix. And Venus says, I desire X, Y, and Z. I desire to be safe. I desire to be emotionally secure. I desire to be heard. My feelings need to be heard. Venus in Cancer. Y'all hearing me? So when that moon and expression gets on it, it's like, yeah, I'm not holding back. I'm just going to tell them in the way that I know how to tell them. I need for y'all to hear it, though. Us all to hear it. Because again, it won't look like black and white. That's not how Cancer emotion expresses. It can be really, really emotionally manipulative sometimes. Well, I meant to say, and blah, 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 blah. And then you say, well, shit, how am I supposed to do that if you don't say it right, outright? Are people supposed to learn how to get along if we don't understand how each other comes? Did you get that? If we don't, what am I on here for? Like, if we're not studying astrology and we're not studying personality, we're not studying how people react and how people move, then what are we talking about? We're studying these energies so we can understand one another. Thus, we can exist on the planet together to make this shit better, y'all. I'm not here to just talk about some cute little coochie cool shit, when you're going to make your money and when you're going to get married. Nobody cares about that. care about how happy you are when you make your money and how happy you are when you get married. And if that motherfucker is right for you. Come on now, let's talk about this thing. So tomorrow, when that moon is coming together with Venus, step inside your heart and lead with your desires. I'm about to spin around this goddamn table, just because I didn't know I wrote that until I just read it. Step inside your own heart. You, inside you, go inside you to tell you what it is that you desire, to feel emotionally safe, to feel nourished, to feel like, some semblance of family within you or without you, the people that surround you. Cancer's family, remember that. Come on now. The moon says, I got you, but you got to be clear what it is that you value. And I'll express that shit. I make sure you get it. The moon is going to sextile Uranus tomorrow. So at the same time, we're tapping into our desire and our passion, our worth, our money. Venus is about money. Maybe there's an opportunity you make money tomorrow to help you with your expression. You know what I mean? Let me not leave certain practical, superficial things out of it, descriptions and meanings out of it as well. But I'm a Cancer, I always want to go deep with it. But that's included too with that moon conjuncting that Venus tomorrow. But it's also the moon in Cancer sextile and Uranus. How you feel about a thing. Did I write that twice? I said how you feel about a thing can pivot in your entire perspective. How you feel about a thing can pivot your entire perspective is what they have me starting out with this goddamn rundown with. Your perspective, how it changes based on how you feel. That's a big deal tomorrow. Hone in on that. Remember, Cancer and Taurus has taken over the sky for at least a day or two. That's for ding dong. I know the sun is in Gemini, but here the other neighboring planets and how they are revolving around that sun in order for the information to come out. So we got to get in contact with our feels and what we need to do differently in our sensibilities and our validations in order for that information, Sun and Gemini, to work for us. Are y'all feeling me? Also on Tuesday, this is not as favorable, but bust it. The Mars in Leo wants to square up against that Gemini energy. Okay? An abundant, a wish fulfilled situation is not motivating you to do anything, right? Oh, okay. Let me say that all again. A wish fulfillment, which is Jupiter, right? Abundance, which is Jupiter, is not being motivated, or I should say is not being received because the motivation of Mars and Leo is coming with some prideful situation, right? Watch your need to be big or generous or an over pourer to ruin the big picture. I want to speak of the latter because often there are a lot of people that are over pourers. That means coming in too hot, giving too much love, being too generous. Leo style that justifies its energy and its need to give more than it should. It justifies that with a big heart. Mars in Leo, motivation in Leo. Let me give over pour, but that's squaring what Jupiter has. Jupiter's like, yo, I already got enough for everybody. Why you need to over pour oftentimes? Just to prove that you're there, just to prove you have motivation to assist, just to prove that you have a big heart. Be careful of that. Because as you're overpouring, oversharing, coming in too hot, there's a lot of abundance and wish fulfilled situations that are not necessarily being found out or being seen or being utilized for that matter because you're coming on too hot. Does that make sense? Here's the deal. When they are fighting, Mars and Jupiter, especially in this way, in a standoffish kind of way, two very stubborn energies, Leo and Taurus, right? Leo is moving fast because it's in Mars and it feels like it has validation to move fast. I got to water all the plants. Where Jupiter says, I watered the plants. We just have to wait for them to grow. Y'all get that analogy? So be careful with that. Just be careful with coming in too hot and overpouring, and let the motherfucking plants grow. That's all I want to say. Sometimes I can say what I need to say in a sentence and keep it moving, but I have the Leo in me. I have the Leo in me. So animation helps. So here we go. Then the situation changes, because on Wednesday, we got the moon going into Leo. Yep, it's a sign after Cancer. So now the moon is going into Leo at 10:35 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Say what? Before it does that, though, you're going to wake up nice and happy, possibly, maybe you had a good dream. Why? Because the moon, when it was in Cancer on Wednesday morning, just before it goes into Taurus, just before it goes into Leo, will be trining Neptune. So wake up in a prayerful kind of space for Wednesday. Wake up open to your ancestors and to your guides. Wake up allowing your imagination to lead the way. Honestly, take your time. Y'all know how I feel about prayer. Pray every day, all day, but especially when these configurations or certain planets, the sun and the moon, hits Neptune, because there's a window open in which they are downloading. So be available for that Wednesday morning, because it happens like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, in which it'll be morning time for all of us here in the United States on some level, right? So wake up prayerful. But when it goes into Leo, it's going to opposition, be opposite of Pluto. Pluto is in Aquarius, going backwards, right? Actually, it should be in Capricorn right now. Oh, no. It's still in Aquarius if it's opposition. So balance is needed to prevent any explosion or any overuse of power. So that moon in Leo is coming in right on time to say, yo, I know your emotional security was being handled the first 2 days, but somebody's getting a little hairy about it. We don't want to blow up the spot. We don't want to feel like first 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, we're spending way too much time internally. So on Wednesday, when that moon in Leo is in opposition to Pluto, the moon in Leo says, okay, enough of that, enough of the feels. We got to be a little self-centered now. We have to dominate our feelings in a way in which we can be a boss of ourselves now, and balance out the need to assist other people. Balance out the need to assist the power and or the lack of with other people. Pluto being in Aquarius. Remember, Pluto is being reviewed in Aquarius right now. How should we assist the people? So when the moon goes into Leo, there's a balancing act. Now I got my feels back. Now I'm going to go out, moon in Leo, and deal and express in a way that I'm going to take all that safety that I just received with the moon in Cancer, put it into my heart and express myself to bring balance to the people and to myself. There's the sentence. You get what I'm saying? So on Wednesday, fight for the underdog if you can, or at least with the sun being in Gemini, get the information to help to fight for the underdog, including yourself if you happen to be the underdog. I hope that makes sense. To do what? Bring balance, as I keep doing this, to bring balance to power that's being reviewed. That's very specific. Okay, on Wednesday, that moon in Leo is also squaring Jupiter. On Tuesday, Mars squared Jupiter because Mars is in Leo. But on Wednesday, when the moon goes into Leo, it's going to square Jupiter too. Ego, presented as emotion, can take away from the opportunities that are brewing around us. Realize that the lessons are to be careful. Realize the lesson of being careful and being free. Ooh-wee. So here's the deal. With that moon in Leo squaring Jupiter, moon in Leo, when it squares anything, brings up this weird, like I was telling you earlier, when there's a square or an opposition, it brings up a little bit of a fight, a little bit of a challenge on some level, right? So that means the moon in Leo, its challenge is being too big, because the moon in Leo is about being prideful. It's about expectations. Right? So let's stay with that, especially with the moon in Leo has incredible expectations. I feel that you should have, you could have, you would have, expectations on all three of those words. That's going to go up against the plant that's growing. Jupiter in Taurus, remember, said, I don't need no more water. I don't need no overpouring. I don't need too much more. Just let the bitch grow is the point. So your expectations on how things should go, on how your opportunities are being utilized, on how people are coming into your life, taking away or adding to your blessings, your expectations on that may really, really, what's the word I'm looking for? Shorten and or it's not prevent. Shake up the growth of these opportunities that are brewing around you. You do know where we're changing. You do know the opportunities are right in front of your face. You get that? Don't allow the moon, your ego, your pride to get in the way of that on Wednesday. Let the bitch grow. Let it grow. And get the information that you need. Just no hairy, hasty kind of expressions about, well, what I should do because you feel like a brat. This is Wednesday. All right. Again, the moon being in Leo will conjunct Mars in Leo, which is another reason why you shouldn't be like a brat, because Mars is going to validate now. Mars is going to validate the fact that the moon in Leo needs to go up against that goddamn Jupiter, waiting for the thing. Why I gotta wait for the goddamn blooms to come up? Well, because that's how Jupiter in Taurus deals. It's bringing quality to our lives, but you got to be patient. It's Mr. Snuffleupagus. You understand what I'm saying? Won't. But here you go, the moon hitting Mars going, fuck Mr. Snuffleupagus. Fuck the plant growing. Why I got to wait for my quality, my better quality of living, Jupiter being in Taurus? Let's push. Let's express ourselves. Let's get what we want. Be careful of that. All I'm saying is you may feel that it may work for you on some kind of level. I just don't want you to destroy the bigger picture that Jupiter is growing for you. Does that make sense, y'all? Y'all feeling me? Expression is huge, and some may get physical with it. So if you feel physical, if you feel like, thank you, Spirit, if you feel like you just need to put something in a place, is the point. If you feel like, okay, I can't sabotage I don't want to sabotage this blessing of Jupiter sitting there right and nice, ready to bloom when it needs to, because it's methodical and patient like that, right? Instead of trying to fuck with Jupiter, because it's squaring Jupiter right now, put it somewhere else, work out. All fire sign is physical in that way. So the bottom line is that if your expression, moon, is coinciding with Mars, your movement, instead of messing up Jupiter as it squares Jupiter and the blessings and opportunity, just put it out. Just express yourself. Just work out. Just move. Just create. Go karaoke in on Wednesday night. You understand what I'm saying? Express. That's performative in a way in which you can get what energy you need to get at it out in that avenue so you don't crash anything else. Does that make sense? Moni Love gets what I'm saying. Anybody else here? I'm teasing. But all I see is Moni Love. Yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. 21 JNCI, you here with me too. That's so awesome. And thank you, Melania Howard. I appreciate you being here as well. And Nicole Ray. El Bell, you always get it. Okay, but I just feel like thank you, Nelson. I appreciate you too, honey bun. Y'all listening intently, huh? Thank you, Cicely. All right, here we go though. I like the way I'm putting this in my brain, and I just want to make sure that it's landing in a way in which y'all receive it. At the same and receive it in a way in which resonates on some level. Ask questions if it doesn't. On Wednesday too, the sun and the moon sextile. Because the moon is in Leo, the sun is in Gemini, that's 60 degrees, that's a sextile. The vibration is to share the ideas and the resources, become creative and willful to formulate something now. So the bottom line is that the sun in Gemini says, if you got the information, you get the information, kind of like what I was just saying. If you're going to work it out, be physical with it, or get creative with it. Now it's time to perform. Now it's time to put it together. Now it's time to assist in a way in which you show up. Leo energy is not just about performance and creativity, but it's about showing up too. So what do you need to show up to do to prove to yourself, not to anybody else? To prove to yourself on Thursday, Wednesday. on Wednesday without getting in the way of Jupiter. Remember, because that plant is growing, it's minding its business. Thank y'all for the 37 thumbs up. I appreciate you. Man, y'all 35. I appreciate y'all. Y'all in it today. On Thursday, moving swiftly, only one aspect on Thursday. And that's something to figure out, I should say, to be aware of. Cuidado, the moon in Leo will absolutely square Mercury in Taurus. Watch your tongue and say what needs to be said. No withholding as punishment. The reason why I say that is because Mercury in Taurus is all about, well, I should say this. Taurus energy, when it doesn't get its way and when it happens to land in the square-like situation, can bring out the energy and the opportunity to punish. Taurus loves to punish, to withhold, to stay, like I said this a couple of times before, stuck in its space with its own identity, with its own viewpoint, with its own thought. You dig what I'm saying? And Mercury being stuck in Taurus's thought process is unwavering. I'm just gonna say what I say and do what I do and say and utilize the way I say it, because this is just the way I say it. I don't care if it's 200,000 years old. Mercury in Taurus says, well, that squares up against the fields because the moon is in Leo. So the moon in Leo was like, well, I want to be big. I want to be magnanimous. I want to show up. I want to perform. I want to expect certain things. And Mercury in Taurus is like, well, go right ahead, have at it, but I'm not going to tell you anything. It can shut down. So the bottom line is watch your tongue, because you may, thank you, Spirit, you may come up to, address a situation in which you cut your nose off to spite your face. Does that make sense? You know how the elderly used to say that, the older folks and our ancestors, for sure. Don't cut your nose off to spite your face. Don't hold on for something or an ideology or a thought or some information so much, Mercury being in Taurus, that you spite yourself. Your moon in Leo, you spite the opportunity to really shine. That's all I'm saying. On Friday, moon moves into Virgo. Well, okay, here's a new situation, which is going to cause a little bit of discomfort, not too much, because remember, Pluto is in Aquarius, so the moon is quincunx to Aquarius, which means, okay, let me start from here. Hello. What sign is that? What planet is that? Neptune. Neptune is in Pisces. But before the moon goes into Virgo, which was late Friday night, by the way. So most of the day, the moon is going to be in Leo. So let's start from there, right? The moon in Leo, quincunxed Neptune in Pisces, is confusion and frustration. Straight up off the bat. And because that moon is in Leo, it's looking for somebody to not just give it clarity, but to give it attention, to give the feelings attention. Remember, the moon in Leo is like, look at me. Give me the attention. Give me the love as I give it back to you. Well, Neptune is saying, I want to give you the love and the attention, but I'm a little confused right now because I don't even know where the fuck we going. I just want to be in my imagination today. And the moon, the expression is like, you can't be stuck in your imagination. You have to give me the spotlight. I can't give you the spotlight if I can't see you, is what Neptune says. So the bottom line is, don't get frustrated by the fact that maybe one or two people cannot see your beauty, your talent, your affection, your love on that day, on Friday, because it's going to be maybe a little confused and frustrated and stunted by Neptune and Pisces just trying to find its shape, you dig? And in that case, with the moon in Leo that day, quincunxed Venus, Neptune is also going to quincunx Pluto. So as the confusion and the frustration happen, and it hits Pluto, which means that now this confusion and frustration is coming around. Maybe somebody doesn't want to be responsible for that confusion. Maybe they don't want to see it, because remember, Neptune, Sonja, too many planets and shit, y'all. Pluto has to deal with responsibility, with accountability, with power, authority, superiority. It's going backwards. So if the confusion is happening, here comes the moon in Leo hitting Pluto to go, yeah, I'm confused and you're going backwards and Neptune ain't helping us. There's a sense of you not being responsible or accountable for whatever it is you need to do, feel, imagine, be patient for. You're not accountability for your impatienceness on Friday. I'm just saying, that's a really weird day. It could potentially be a weird day. The only thing that's a bright, bright light is Venus. Remember, value and worth, the shit that we are working on. There's 3 aspects. So on Tuesday, the moon conjuncts Venus. On Friday, Venus sextiles Uranus. And on Sunday, the moon sextiles Venus. That's 3 aspects, y'all, not 2. If anybody in here remembers what I said. That's why Spirit was like, how many times is Venus aspected? Bring out this worth and this desire and this passion. So the way our worth and desire and passion is being tested on Friday or highlighted in this manner is being sextiled by Uranus to say, yo, do it different, do it, change it, pivot, do what you need to do in order to see yourself and in order to pump up your desires. Here's the real deal. Don't get caught into that moon and Leo's need to be expressive and to be seen and to be the center of attention, especially as Venus is trying to correct our course with Uranus. Let me say that again and give you an example. Possibly, maybe you want to be known. This is a weird example, but I'm going to say it. Maybe you want to be known as that hottie that you always were. But you know what? You are 55 years old and you're hot. You're hot in your own way, though. You're not hot like 25 no more. So the bottom line is, how can you see your validity? How can you see your worth? How can you see what you need to give to the world, your desire, your passion? Pivot that shit, change it, Uranus style, in a way in which nobody can see you coming. So at 55, you ain't gonna be like the hot hottie like 25, but you're gonna be hot and hot in your own 55-year-old way. How does that look is the real point. Don't get confused on that day because of the moon quincunx in Neptune and the moon quincunx in Pluto and making you feel powerless in that way. It's saying change your perspective again. Change your perspective on what you think is valuable. Pivot it real quick with Uranus coming into play. Does that make sense? Come on, y'all. I'm talking a lot. I hope it's landing. Thank y'all for the 38 likes. That means I'm doing something. I'm doing something. On Saturday. By the way, that moon in Virgo pops into existence at 11:05 p.m. Friday night, just to let you know. You are so welcome, Miss A. She said, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, for my hard work. I appreciate you too, Miss A. Thank you so much for promoting the sister. You've been down with a sister for a minute, so I can't do this without you. That sounds like some like, thank you. I can't do this without you. Thank God. This was my Oscar. Thank God. Thank Miss A. Because I can't do this without you. On Saturday, that moon being in Virgo. Now, here comes Jupiter. Like, God damn it, I'm glad they see me now. Why? Because Jupiter is in Taurus. And the moon being in Virgo can appreciate the growth that Taurus and Jupiter is trying to do, right? There's hope for opportunities is what I put here. It's breathing again. You see, you value my growth. Yes, I do. Let's do this one by one, though. Moon in Virgo says, now we can get back to the details. Now we can get back to not criticizing ourselves or anybody else. Now we can put things in order and watch the thing grow or utilize the opportunities that are around us, almost like looking at the tree with the fruit on it, Jupiter being in Taurus, being the tree, and catching the hanging fruit as opposed to the ones we wish would get fucking right that's sitting on top of the tree. Deal with the ones that's hanging is what Virgo moon says on Saturday. Let's just take what we have and utilize that and express those opportunities in the way that's going to bring us more opportunities or that we can utilize for ourselves or the people that surround us. That's what that moon in Virgo says and snaps in on Saturday to Jupiter. Come on now. Yes, y'all. Community-wise. Come on, Alicia. Also on Saturday, the moon is opposition Saturn. Saturn being in Pisces, okay, we're going to express healthy criticism to work on the unseen. Get ready, get prepared. Express healthy criticism. Healthy criticism, in my opinion, always looks like you commenting on a thing, seeing a thing, and then having possibly a solution, a new solution. It's very, very critical and incredibly harmful when you criticize a thing and just leave it there. Oh, your shirt is ugly, and walk away. Oh, you could have done better last time. You was better in the 12th grade as you are as opposed to now, and then walk away. Criticism hurts when you don't come from a space of being healthy. Moon in Virgo, right? So we asking that on Saturday that moon finds some kind of balance in your criticism, yours or somebody else's that are around you, to help bring life to Saturn, bring balance to Saturn and Pisces. Because remember, Saturn and Pisces is a little open-ended, like an amoeba, so to speak, right? So your criticism needs to bring solutions to the open-ended ways of being disciplined. Your criticism to yourself, oh, well, I haven't worked out in a long time. I think I'm going to get fat. You leave it like that, that's disrespectful to you. How about, okay, I'm getting fat, but this is what I'm going to do. Moon in Virgo says, I'm going to set up a fucking schedule. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, from 2 to 3, this is what we're going to do. Solution oriented. So Saturn can get its parameters, you dig? And Saturn can work for us and become disciplined in producing some type of results, i.e. looking finer than fine because you worked out 3 days a week for the next hour, for the next year. For the next hour in your mind. You thought about it for the next hour. Saturn also squares the sun on Saturday. That's a little tricky. The opportunities are there. Remember, Jupiter in Taurus is trying to balance out the need to work things out and get disciplined. Saturn in Pisces, but it's squaring the sun all together, man. Moon in Virgo is squaring the sun in Gemini. Here's the thing in which you can keep that alive and not go so far into a disrespectful day. Why? Here's the thing. Virgo energy being in the moon, the sun's energy being in Gemini are both ruled by Mercury. The common denominator, so they don't fight, is how to utilize information. The fighting comes from how we going to utilize information. You dig what I'm saying? Or you can subside the fighting and deciding how you're going to utilize the information. For example, that moon in Virgo wants to be particular, wants to be critical, wants to be discriminating, wants to be in denial oftentimes. Where the sun in Gemini is like, bitch, we have all the information. You ain't no time to be in denial. It's all right here. You have the information. Sun in Gemini said, we need to talk about it. The moon in Virgo is like, I'm not expressing that. I'm not even going to promote that. Are you fucking crazy? I'm not telling Mercury and Taurus to even talk about that because I don't have my ducks in a row yet. That's how they fight each other. But if they remember that they're both coming from the same hub, they're both coming from the value of information, you can decide how to impart that information on people and to yourself without fighting, by respecting the information or just holding on to the information. The moon don't need to express it in a Virgoian, critical, kind of discriminating way. And the sun doesn't have to proclaim, I got all the information, and be bright. Just sit back for a second. Don't let it fight. Just collect your information on Saturday so your ego is not fighting the emotions. You get that? Come on, y'all. I like this rundown. I don't know about y'all. The moon is also, like I just said, trining Mercury because Mercury is in Taurus. So that moon in Virgo is about being discriminating, like I just said, and it wants somebody on its side. Mercury, come on, let's get it out like this. Mercury's like, listen, let me tell you something. I want to be able to talk about it nice and calm in the way in which you, moon in Virgo, sees it. But the sun is like, no, and the sun is bigger. So if you can't say what you need to say in a calm, cool, collected kind of Taurian kind of way, don't let it fight ego. Don't let it fight the sun, because the sun is going to win. Bottom line, it's the biggest entity in the sky. And the sun says, gather the information and be nice about it. We don't have to be so particular about it. We can be superficial for the day. We can just take the information and sit on it until the next day or two until the moon goes into Libra, and then we could be nice about it. You get what I'm saying? I'm talking to y'all like we do this every day because y'all know something. Last day, good God, 1 hour and 14 minutes. I can't stand it, but I love it at the same time. The moon stays in Virgo, but the sun will be squaring Saturn. Why? Saturn is in Pisces. The sun is in Gemini. Gemini squares two signs, Pisces and Virgo. Okay? So the sun is squaring Pisces, Saturn and Pisces. I wrote, there may be some flighty ways, superficial ego goes against what's being built and established. So that Gemini negotiation, communicative prowess has its way of talking anybody and itself out of the fact that there are being some steps that are being made through Saturn in Pisces elusiveness. That Gemini shit talk kind of nature just can't see it because it doesn't work like Pisces does. Does that make sense? I hope so. Again, the sun being in Gemini is gathering the information and is going against how Saturn is actually building it in a Pisces kind of elusive amoeba kind of way. And they want to fight. It's no sense of fight. If you don't want to work that day, don't work. If you don't want to see the validity and kind of splaying your information and allowing it to come together intuitively, don't work. But here's what you can't do. Don't shit on what Saturn is doing. Like El Bell said earlier, but don't we know that Saturn is working for our highest good? We do. But that would be the perfect day in which the sun in Gemini will shit on all things Saturn and Pisces because it doesn't understand it. And when Gemini shits on things, it literally convinces everybody else in the universe to shit on it. Why? Because it knows how to use its words and manipulate, which means it can take your focus off of what Saturn and Pisces is building for you in the ethereal level, in an intuitive level. Don't let it do that. Because Gemini energy doesn't know all things, even though it has collected information. You get that? That's the fight. On Sunday, the moon in Virgo is going to trine Uranus. Change is good when it begins to make sense. Bottom line. Boop. On Sunday, the moon in Virgo will sextile Venus. Why? Because Venus is in Cancer, right? The moon is in Virgo. That's a sextile. Service your heart and become what you desire. The end. Service your heart and become what you desire is the whole focus of the whole week. What Spirit said, work on Venus. Look up Venus. Google Venus in Cancer. That's your assignment. The first time I've ever given you any homework. That's your assignment. Google Venus in Cancer and see what comes up. That's taking over in a way in which we are being shown like, yo, our desires mean something. When we put legs on it, when we put water on it for it to grow, when we put thought behind it with the sun being in Gemini, when we really cherish it, it means something. That's the spark to all things on the real. That's all I got for y'all. Ooh, I like that. Anyway, feels good coming through for y'all. So I want to be able to read one or two people if you want to put your sun, your moon, and your rising sign up. And then I'm also going to go and read this, read a card for us, okay? Any questions, please put them up right now with the question mark in the front of the sentence as well as behind it so I can see it with my 20/90 vision on both eyes. I'm just looking to see if I missed any questions. Again, if you want a quick read, what's your sun, your moon, and your rise, and we'll go from there. I pray in some kind of way that this and every video, every little bit of energy and understanding and insight that comes through me lands in a way that it just makes your life a little bit better. That's all. Just a little bit. That's all. And I've done my job, and you are growing, and so am I. I love that. Thank you so much. Oh, you're welcome, honey love. Nobody's putting up their Sunday moon and their rise. Well, all right. I guess not today. All right. You're welcome, Alicia. Palomares. Is that how you pronounce your last name? Palomares. Okay, somebody jumped in here. Libra Sun, Aries Moon. What's your rising? Taurus rising. All right. Libra Sun, Aries Moon, Taurus rising. Well, I don't know why this popped up, but I'm going to tell you. The sun being in Libra, of course, makes you that mediator. This is not what came up. I'll tell you in a minute. The sun makes you that mediator, makes you in your head, again, makes you that cerebral leader, makes you the one that's fair, that's justin like, that's justice like, that always leads with partners in mind. I love Libra energy for that. That moon in Aries, though, is the exact opposite of Libra, just to let you know. There's always one opposite in the zodiac, right? And Libra's opposite is Aries. Aries' opposite is Libra. So that means your sun operates totally opposite than how you emote. Your moon being your knee-jerk reaction to everything. So even though the Libra is like calm and cool and oftentimes doesn't like confrontation, understand that Libras are not really down for confrontation. They want to find a median. They want to find an answer for the situation, right? Your moon goes right out there. It's like, fuck waiting to look for an answer. I'm about to attack right now. And when you was shorty, it was probably a little bit more curt and hit people upside their neck every now and again. As you grow older, you learn how to mature and to pull back that knee-jerk reaction of Aries capping somebody on the side of their dome when they don't agree with you. But you probably not so much because this Taurus rise. This is what I was told to highlight. That Taurus rising is doing its best. Remember, the rising is your clothes, right? The rise is that armor that we willfully put around ourselves to protect our personality, to our spirit, everything else, namely the sun, right? Because the sun is vulnerable. The rising is the armor to the sun. The sun is you naked. The rising is you with clothes on. So here comes Taurus with his clothes on, looking like what? Whenever you see Taurus rising person, I swear to goodness, they're always incredibly stoic, serious, friendly. It's not a mean kind of like, I'm gonna get you kind of feel. It's just very neutral, very intact, very fair in its own way. Because Taurus energy, it takes a lot to beat Taurus energy down. And when it's on the rising, that means you're hitting that wall over and over and over and over again. And that person is like, I'm not even flinching. Here's the understanding, in my opinion, in what I just got. Sometimes you have to allow that Taurus wall to come down. And you have to focus on what your emotional nature is trying to release, exude every now and again. Why? Because she's a brat. That moon in Aries, moon in Taurus, moon in Aries, moon in Leo, and moon in Sag are very much different versions of a brat. Okay? No disrespect. I'm just letting you know. But if you allow that brat to come out every now and again and put his energy somewhere to expel what brat, self-centered, physical energy that it has, you dig what I'm saying? It won't cut through so much. And this is what I was told, that Taurus rising won't do such an upstanding but arduous job of keeping your emotions intact. That's the job for you, is that your Taurus rising has been keeping your emotional expressions within over and over and over again, especially when it's led by Libra, because Libra's like, we're not going to let them see us sweat. We too motherfucking fly for that shit. We too fly. We have way too much dignity. We have way too much understanding of what's going on. I am a leader in this bitch. And your moon in Aries is like, fuck that shit, blow it down. Blow it down. And your rise is like, I'm with Libra. We ain't got time for this. We can carefully understand who they are and take care of their kids and be, a little patient in this thing. Here's the thing though. If Taurus is holding you up and Libra sometimes can't rein in that moon, you understand? That Taurus ability is what I just heard 5 minutes ago. That Taurus energy will double back on your body. I say all that to say is you can only get hit by the bus, but way too many times, Miss. I'm trying to find a name. Miss or Mr. Love, Art, Life Sounds. What I mean by the bus is because the bull on the outside doesn't mind getting hit. The bull on the outside is like, I can take it, I can take it, I can take it, I can take it. It's a bull. But after a while, your body won't be able to take it, like your physical body. You get what I'm saying? So you have to bring down the wall in order to express how you really feel. Almost always. So your body is not getting hit. I hope you get this, Love, Art, Life, Sounds. And if that makes no sense to you, thanks for playing. I don't know what else to tell you because I can just say whatever it is they want me to say. It feels like there's a delay on this gosh darn thing, though. Can anybody concur? Because I intuitively, oh, it all makes sense? Okay, good. Intuitively, I feel like y'all here, but I feel like y'all like down the street. And y'all like, Sonya, we hear you. And I'm like, is there somebody in the back? Your name is Grace. Okay, Grace. Thank you for saying that. Because I hate referring to people as their handle. Mr. Love Art out. Miss Love Art Sound Life. You're very, very welcome, Miss Grace. All right. If no one else is putting their information up, we are going to move it along because it's been an hour and 25 minutes. I'm so grateful for y'all tuning on in. Thank you, Nelson. Y'all working? That's right, Tiffany. Make that money, girl. Make that money, honey. Okay. Let's go with the card. This is for today, y'all. This is for this week. Great Mother, Father, God, and all my guardian angels and ancestor spirits. I'll get you my God. The best success. We got time for these motherfuckers. You welcome, Miss J. Miss Lady J. We ain't got time for these motherfuckers, though. You see them people? You see the dude with the hat and the rooster on top of this dude with the hat. We got time for these burdens. It's time to shake it. Shake it all. Shake all the burdens and their children and grandchildren that come with it. Shake it. Let me read it to you. When we carry, okay, first of all, didn't I say that shoulds and shouldn'ts and the coulda, woulda, shouldas, all of that? Listen to Lou Rawls. If I coulda, woulda, shoulda, all them shouldas and wouldas are high expectations. Who deals with high expectations? Leo energy. Did we not talk about a shitload of Leo energy for this week? The reasons why this card is coming up, in my opinion, it's allowing us to shake the shoulds and the woulds and the couldas off because they are burdens that are keeping us trapped in high expectations of ourselves or other people, which almost always leads to disappointment. When we carry a load of shoulds and shouldn'ts imposed on us by others, we become like this ragged, struggling figure trying to make his way uphill. Go faster, try harder, reach the top, shouts the foolish tyrant he carries on his shoulder, while the tyrant himself is crowned with an imperious rooster. If life these days just seemed like a struggle from the cradle to the grave, it could be time to shrug your shoulders and see what it feels like to walk without these characters on our back. You have your own mountains to conquer, y'all, your own dreams to fulfill, but you will never have the energy to pursue them until you release yourself from all the expectations you've gathered from others, but now think are your own. Come on now. I swear to God, I don't pick these things like just to, what? Chances are they exist only in your mind, those expectations, but that doesn't mean that they can't weigh you down. It's time to lighten up and send them on their way. Ashe, amen, ashe. It's time to lighten up because it's Gemini season. I know I've been mostly serious throughout this entire broadcast, but Gemini asked that we bring the levity, y'all. that we bring the lightheartedness. It's time to lighten up these burdens that you placed on yourselves or you allow your people to place on you. Let them go. Let them go, let them go, let them go, let them go, because they're trying to grow themselves on our back and become humps and shit and burdens and shit. And they don't pay rent. They don't make us happy. They don't make us smile. Come on now. They're responsibilities that are not even ours. So let's go. Shake them. And remember to pay attention to those desires that you have. You're worthy of it. Again, I hope this hits somewhere, and please share or donate to the channel with my Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App in the description box below. Much love to you, okay? Amen and ashe to that card, by the way. I don't think I sealed it off. Amen. Ashe, amen. Thank you, Moni Love. Thank you, Nelson. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate you and your mama, too. Your daddy ain't that bad. Take care.